Hold up.
All right. This is an overview of what I'm trying to build. The later stages of this setup, I'm going to be talking about things not to do. And when we talk about things not to do, to avoid doing, there's exceptions to rules. And then there's rules that should never be broken. And I don't want to be a solo making that decisions. And I have people in mind that would be good at making the decisions. Like, there's a guy I met in Kansas City, had this championship ring on his finger. I was just chatting with him, seeing what he was all about, and he was a debate national champion. And we were chatting about some shit, and then this motherfucker decides to tell me sex isn't a need. Sex isn't a need. And we argued about it because it is a need, but it's not a need. So philosophically, you'll survive. You won't die if you don't have sex. Your body will live on until it dies at whatever point. Sex has no just because the urge to have sex is as powerful as food and water, as drinking and eating. The desire to have it when you don't have it is strong like that. You're not going to die if you don't have sex. But the human species doesn't go on. So when we were arguing about it, I was arguing from the position of Maslow and his outline of his hierarchy of needs, how it is a need for the species to survive. So sex is a need, and that's why we feel it so strongly. And he brought up Maslow's hierarchy of needs to defend his position. But Maslow's hierarchy of needs explicitly states the way I did. So I told him that I won the debate and that that championship ring is mine, and he still hasn't given it to me yet. So he is smart. He was smart. He was fun to talk to and challenge on the thoughts, and his mind was in the right spot. So a guy like him would be him specifically. But when I ask these people to do this, it's hard. It's hard to figure out how to get everyone interested and involved. But he's just an example of one of the many people I have in mind. Because tackling sex is one that the schooling system and parents don't tackle. And so everyone's just trying to figure it out and not not doing great. But how do you gain power in this world? That's what we keep talking about. How do we gain power, and who should you follow? How do you gain power, and who should you follow? You should follow yourself. And how do you figure out who yourself is until you've gone through and figured out what you're the master at and what you should master? What is that purpose for you that you need to go out? And why do you need to be that person? What makes you tick? And then you can really find out how to have that eternal happiness. These are the ways to think about it. How can you be happy? Without consequences, it's eternal. It's long-term happiness. It's something that stays with you and you can pull you out of the hole. It takes long to get to mastery, but to get proficient, it shouldn't take more than a few months of dedicating yourself every day, a few hours every day to an art or profession. We'll go into a few philosophies first. Buddha or Confucius, their core philosophies may have been different, where the Buddha wanted to reach nirvana by eliminating suffering, by eliminating the ego and the sense of self. And Confucius wanted everybody to have nirvana, not just be a piece of shit like Buddha and have nirvana for him fucking self. Anyway. So Confucius wanted everyone to be able to achieve it, and that is through the way of learning. Buddha focused on liberation from societal constraints, and Confucius was the opposite and said focus on the societal constraints so that everyone can achieve it. Plato, that's another one I read. That was a good one. The whole point is who should be king when everyone wants to rule the world. And Plato dove into that concept in the Greek world that tried to outline why the Greeks had such a great country. So he tried to dive in with philosophers on why they were so great and how can one of the greatest societies that ever existed be even greater, and that's what he tried to outline. Not like America's anything fucking close to the fucking Greeks, the ancient Greeks, not the current Greeks who are just fucking they had a fairly close to a socialist society of what a utopia is designed to be. And how do they outline what the utopia is? I don't necessarily agree fully with their philosophies, because they did things like take the best and brightest, they took their children away and made them state. There's people that were essentially tied to the state, no different than our military, except for they separated the parents from their children. They paired up the best and the brightest. They made marriage as the highest accord, and didn't allow infidelity and playing these games where girls are get empowered and they get to go fuck around with all the trash on the streets and not give a fuck about anyone or anything, but catching the vibe and feeling what they want to fucking feel. They would be fucking destroyed. They would be fucking, I don't know what the front punishment was. I'm certain it was not good. It was not good. And they came to solutions fast. When they had disagreements and problems, it was a core philosophy of theirs to end those, squash those beefs, find a resolution, whatever you needed to do. And they weren't against actual fighting and getting to the bottom of things to figure out what the resolution needed to be so that they could move on, because they maintained unity as some of the most important things that exist. Definition of unity, I really liked how they defined what unity is. Unity is a community of pleasure and pain on occasion of joy and sorrow. The concept of that is when things get real, and that's why they made it a serious thing, and it overlapped in personal life and business and government. They said nothing is more evil than discord and distraction and plurality when unity ought to reign. The truth was of the utmost importance, Philosophers were seekers of truth, and the truth was what reigned supreme, not people's imaginations and their fucking feelings. Whatever needed to be to create unity, not division, which is what our system does today. The government just plays make-believe and says if a girl has feelings, and we're going to play pretend, and the government's going to destroy our community and create division rather than find unity. And I would seek to turn that around, the way our society operates, which is why we're going into this bullshit, which I don't want to do. I don't want to be king. I don't want any of that stuff, but we'll get into why later. Well, right now, actually, the quote, we're just going to go down this quote because it was a good one that people don't want to hear because everyone wants to rule the world. Everyone thinks that they should be the boss. Everyone thinks that they should be the one making decisions because they're X and they're Y and they're Z. I got an education. I got a degree from a university, so I'm smart. I should do this because I have this job. I make this much money. I have a fat ass, so I should be getting all of the attention and the money. It's just whatever reason people think they deserve fucking anything in this fucking world. What's gonna make you feel good today? That's all that we care about. But I wanted to read this quote from Plato about the guardians and the kings and who should be king. And it says, until philosophers are kings, or the kings and princes of this world have the spirit and power of philosophy, and the philosophers are the seekers of immutable truth, which are things that remain the truth over time and never change. And when you have those truths within inside of you, and that's what you lead with, then that's why you should be the leader, not just Hillary Clinton because she's been doing it for so long, Joe Biden because it's his fucking turn to destroy our fucking world. And it goes on and it says, and political greatness and wisdom meet in one, and those commoner natures who pursue either to the exclusion of the other are compelled to step aside. Meaning the people that want power and they pursue the power but only care about political greatness or only care about their own ego, that they're not meant for it. They need to be told, they need to be demanded they step aside, that they shut the fuck up. The fucking people that are playing make-believe, because they fuck this world up. They just don't know what they're doing. It's just a game of fake it until you make it and be a piece of shit until you're either found out or no one catches you and you did all your fucked up shit for no reason, just because you got paid or whatever reason. I don't know. But until those people are found out and just told that you're not right for the job, you're not right for it, you don't belong, you're doing it wrong. How you can use the judges, our current judges, as examples with the Michigan judges and their ex parte rule and how they just don't give a fuck about the Constitution and they change people's lives and abduct people from their home without having a hearing. Just because somebody fed them a story, whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter, true or not. They heard something, so they're gonna act it out, and they just don't belong. That's not who we need guiding the damaged people in our society. Until those people are demanded they step aside, and people that seek for the immutable truths in this world and have the ability for political greatness and the wisdom together. Cities will never have rest from their evils. No, and nor will the human race, as I believe. And then only will our state have a possibility of life and behold the light of day. So, Musashi, I don't know. There's just so many people, and I don't really care about their names. I care about the philosophies and what overlaps there are. That are, like I said, the fucking immutable truths. What doesn't change? How do you succeed? He's had skills to master, demands a blend of discipline, adaptability, boldness, observation, and spiritual insight to achieve excellence. And the first thing, the most important one, is do not think dishonestly. It doesn't say necessarily don't tell a lie. Don't cheat, don't steal. It doesn't necessarily say that. It says don't even fucking think it. Don't even fucking think it. That's what it says. It says don't even think about it. Because it causes the destruction and you can't find out what's really going on. And it destroys everything around just so you can have what you want, so your ego can be satisfied at the cost of everyone. It's the cost of everyone because you don't give a shit. Number 2. The way is training, guys. The way is training. Those are the two top ones this guy's got for us. The way is training. That's how you get there. Kobe didn't get to the top. Kobe didn't get to be the greatest because he wasn't at the gym every fucking day getting it done. Mastery requires dedication every day for years. And people, this is something to talk about, the feelings about it. If someone's not good at something or doesn't excel, then the negative feelings they have associated with that thing causes them to quit at becoming and prevents them from becoming a master because they don't dedicate themselves to it fully enough to achieve what they want, which we've talked about in the law of attraction. Of if you just set your mind and all of your energy, your thoughts, your words, your actions, and dedicate it towards your goal and just relentlessly keep working towards it, that you'll get real close. You'll get real close. You'll definitely find some level of happiness in the pursuit and all the success. And pain comes with that too. Study it all. Our schooling system should be teaching it to teach it. When it does a pretty good job. But the way is becoming accustomed with every art and all the professions that are out there. So you become acquainted with them. Maybe that's even getting a little hands-on with it too, more than just studying it. These are the ways to long-term happiness through stability. Always being at peace so you can always create and manifest what you want. And then it becomes an unlimited possibility when the community works as a collective versus the way the system is set up today. And the system is set up to divide. Distinguish between gain and loss in worldly matters. And that concept would be like trying to understand what's actually going on, what you stand to gain and lose before making a decision, because there's just untold consequences for actions, karma, and other people getting involved in helping make decisions. Develop intuitive judgment and understanding for everything. Perceive those things that cannot be seen. It's being perceptive and understanding your surroundings and being situationally aware. I guess we can dive into these ones, seem to really be of how do you think? What should you be setting your mind at? You have all this time and you're setting it up to figure out how can you be happy? Everyone's trying to figure out how can this person be happy? How can I be happy? How can I be happy? Think about it. These are the ways to think about it. How can you be happy without consequences? It's eternal. It's long-term happiness. It's something that stays with you and you can pull you out of the hole. Perceive things that cannot be seen. That's something to think about. How can you perceive something that can't be seen? Hang out with somebody long enough and you understand how they respond in different situations, and then you gain more awareness and can sense how the feelings and the energy shifts within those people or animals, whatever it may be, and you can gain the most out of situations when you really know what's actually going on and can see it, because then you can actually be helpful. You can actually add judgment that's valuable and make the situation better rather than, well, ideally make the situation better for whatever it is. Sorry, not a toy. Whatever it is, you can use it as a weapon to hurt people as well. So, but how do you gain power in this world? That's what we keep talking about. How do we gain power, and who should you follow? How do you gain power, and who should you follow? You should follow yourself. And how do you figure out who yourself is? Until you've gone through and figured out what you're the master at and what you should master. What is that purpose for you that you need to go out? And why do you need to be that person? What makes you tick? And then you can really find out how to have that eternal happiness. Number 8, pay attention even to trifles, even small things and arguments and insignificant, whatever it may be. The details matter. Like I said, if you're paying attention and you're aware and you're present, your presence is felt and known. And if you've gone through these first ones, people will take you the most serious. People need help, and they look for advice and wisdom too. Number nine is do nothing that is of no use. And it's hard to think about too, because you'd have to give conscious thought to what you're going through and what you're doing throughout the day, and then understand what's bringing value and what's not bringing value into your life, and how much time you're spending on it, and do a calculation of what value you're bringing into your life. This is what I keep trying to explain. Is people want to have value. They want to gain riches and power and admiration and all the great things that this world has to offer. We all do. But no one's teaching how to do it. They're just teaching you how to fit into a system to go be a slave for the greenbacks. And then once you've collected all the greenbacks, you can go do nefarious things, because that's the only thing you can think about that'll make you happy. Because anyway, no, leave it. I'm gonna have to get stronger. No, gee, not a toy. Sorry. Oh, not this either. Wait. Nope. Sorry, guys. I'm running through this. This isn't gonna take long. G, drop it. G, no. Thank you. So we'll just go recap of it real quick. What are the nine principles to go figure out in life? Be honest with yourself and others. 1, 2, dedicate yourself to relentless practice and training. If you want something, dedicate yourself to go learn it, practice it, act it out. Some of the greatest minds can regurgitate exactly what they read in a science book, but then when it comes time to apply it, they fall short. And so those people need to spend extra time and effort practicing until they master it. It's not necessarily a failure on theirs. It seems to be kind of a yin and yang concept. If you excel highly at this, then your balance is low on that. Sorry, G. Hey, I got you. So in order to rebalance yourself out, you need to spend more time practicing at what you're not good at, even though it makes you feel uncomfortable and inadequate, because you are inadequate. Number 3, expand your horizons by studying a variety of arts. And we're going to go swiftly through some that he outlines here today. Understand all professions and perspectives. What's capable for you? What's out there? What exists? Know what it is, so that you can then make a sound decision based on knowledge. And 5, maintain balanced view of gain and loss in life. 6, develop strong intuition and quick judgment. So how do you gain intuition? Is by understanding and learning. So getting out there and experiencing it, dedicating yourself to it, and then you gain quicker judgment. So I love chess. I like chess. It's a fun game. It's a fun strategy game that's easy enough to play, and you learn new tricks and you get better and better as you go along. So started out on the chess.com at like a 700 rating. It's where I leveled out at. And each month or so I climb another 100, and I'm above 1,000 now. So that means I'm right at the average mark. So I started out below average, losing more games than I was winning, and now I'm winning more games than I'm losing, or leveled off And there seems to be plateaus that people hit. There's reasons when you dedicate yourself and you do it right and you know how to approach every situation that you want to master in, then you just keep gaining more and more. Like the concept of the rich get richer. So when you master something and you want to get better at it, you just keep getting better and more at it. And it doesn't really take all that long to takes long to get to mastery, but to get proficient, it shouldn't take more than a few months of dedicating yourself every day, a few hours every day to an art or profession. Once you gain the knowledge in college, people want you to have experience before you can get a job. So you have to have both. You have to have experience and knowledge through the wisdom, and that's what employers want, and that's what everyone wants. And so you just got to go out there. You just got to keep doing it, even if you don't do it at the value you think you are. Sometimes doesn't always matter what you think your value is. 7, look beyond the obvious and grasp for the hidden dynamics, because they're there. You can only say so much, that you just have to perceive a lot and be accurate at your perceptions, because if you're not, then it's a delusion, and then you become problems. And that's why I go back to the truth and honesty being important, because if you're not trying to live in that kind of honesty, then everyone's just getting led astray, the blind leading the blind, because somebody wanted to make everyone play pretend their imagination is real. Fucking liars. Fucking worst of the worst of our fucking society. Pay attention even in smallest details. Be really, just know what's going on around you, especially with public around. It's just good. It's easy to do. It's just turn on and be aware again. Focus on only what's necessary and discard the rest. So if it's not adding value to your future, then you should let it go. But if it is, and if it's essential for your future, then be relentless. Be relentless in the pursuit of that thing. Be relentless in the pursuit. Quick. What are the 10 abilities? He goes through skills to learn when what how to I don't know, behave in society. To achieve mastery. This talks about combat. He talks and goes into fighting, but there's overlap in spiritual matters, and just naturally these concepts are philosophical, and they use it in combat as concepts of how to engage in combat. And spiritual warfare should be seen as mind and energy, and people trying to manipulate. Let's talk about manipulation. The concept has a negative connotation in it, because no one necessarily wants to be manipulated against their will. That would cause them harm, and that's why trust is so important, and being aware, and all of these other skills that we just talked about. When you have situational awareness and you can understand, then engaging in something that's important with your mind and your energy should be seen as these ways to understand too, I guess. So like timing, know when to strike, know when to block and counter, understand when the right moment is. Knowledge of distances, understanding your positioning, understanding what gaps need to be overcome for you to be able to strike accurately and hit your target and do what you want to do. And the next one is be observation. Know your surroundings. Be present and focused on it. Foresight, the ability to anticipate what your opponent's going to do. Knowing your opponent. Adaptability. That's a good one. Being able to adapt to everything as best as possible, really. Adaptability. When things aren't going your way, or you can't quite attain what you need, how do you adapt so that you can get it? That concept of being calm under pressure, too. It's like when things get heavy, when emotions are heavy and it's hard, things are hard. It's when things start to, if you aren't resilient through that, then things get worse, and then it's over, and then adapt regard, I don't know, purgatory eternally. Death, spiritual death. Discipline, be disciplined, commitment, keep talking about it, the same stuff. Decisiveness, what is that? That's that ability. You can be indecisive, is quick enough. I keep using Moses as an example because God didn't let him get into the promised land because he wasn't fast enough. He didn't do it that God wanted quite quick. God said, "Fuck you, Moses. You go die all alone on the side of a fucking mountain." That's how the story goes. And then balance requires a lot of balance. And then as things get added and taken away, then the balance gets shifted, and then you have to adapt so that you can find where that balance is again. Those are, how do you sustain that happiness? How do you sustain it? How do you sustain the best for yourself and those people that you love in your community and everyone, really? And then instinct is something that you can work on and understand too, and that's also by being present with your thoughts, which people are afraid to do. I talk to other people about it, and they don't like thinking thoughts. The system pays me lots of money because senior executives know so much about, they're so close to everything that they never think new thoughts. They never get new thoughts added, and I kind of ask questions that make them think new thoughts, and they like it because they're thinkers, and the more they know, the better, and the more they can gain. So these people are already on top of their game, following these rules that I'm teaching you today. So, but people don't like to be in their mind because there's trauma in there, and we're gonna get into that in later ones of how do you clean the trauma so you can be in your head. How do you do that? How do you do that shadow work, and how do you challenge your spirit so that you can be strong and get through the shadow work, which should just be seen as thinking about past trauma so that you can heal from it, rather than saying I have PTSD, so give me drugs and let me quit and give up on everything, rather than finding balance and peace with it and not letting it control me anymore. The seven arts we're going to go through. It was important to their society for whatever reason, sword fighting, but it doesn't have to be sword fighting. It's just whatever hierarchy you're really in. Whatever hierarchy you're really in has different elements. So they sword fought, they had hand combat, they did archery, spear fighting, horse riding, different strategy games. This is missing something. Good thing I wrote it down here. The Book of the Five Rings, what are they? Ground, water, fire, wind, and void. I like that. That adds the void. Good way of explaining materialism. That constant chase to satisfy that feeling with packages from Amazon and gassed up feelings from your girlfriends and the fuckboys and whoever you're, anyway. The ground is seen as the foundation in understanding what is your foundation, and that we're going to dive into right off the get-go. When we go into Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that's who you are currently, and who do you want to be, and who have you been. You can go through this, I guess, worksheet that I'm going to put out in the video on a needs assessment and how do you get your needs met. And the way to get your needs met is to understand what you need, and then to understand what you need is to understand what you're lacking or what you need to gain to achieve your goals, become who you want to be. And the ground is understanding the foundations, things that you can't go without, and like eating, drinking, sleeping. If you're a human being, you got to go through those things. Water, they have go with the flow. That's that adaptability concept. See, it just keeps going over the similar concepts, but uses different philosophical ideas that translate well. Water is like, it's a concept that's used over and over again throughout time. Fighter, the fire spirit. That fighter spirit, this one's got a lot of fire in her. She's got a lot of go. And how do you control these things and make them work best for you? That's what we're talking about. How do you control these elements within your life? It's not necessarily how do you manipulate actual fire to throw fireballs, but how do you control that energy inside of you to harness it to gain and achieve your goals? Wind stands for tradition, and I don't fully understand how they come to that one. I don't like it very much. The void, the illusionary nature of worldly things. It says to know all that exists so you know what doesn't exist. That's the thought that it's hard to wrap your mind around, but it still relates to everything we talk about in the way. What is the way to get what you want, to succeed in this life, to find that eternal happiness? And how can we create that paradise, the heaven on earth that we'd like to see? And this is the outline of it, different ways some of the other greats have done it. This guy's art for his community was lacking. It was lacking, so I pulled another list of arts that I think is far superior. It is far superior. Let's just be real about it. Art. Some people think you either got it or you don't, and that's bullshit. If you keep practicing it, you'll get it. You'll earn it. You can earn it. You don't have to have it. You can earn it. It just takes a lot of time of suck to not suck for some people. For everyone at certain things. Everyone has things that they suck too much at that they can't unsuck at, but they can if they just keep trying. We're going to pull the 64 Kala arts real quick, and I'm just going to run through those. These are, how can you make master happy? What skill can you learn that's pleasing to other, which will provide confidence in self, and other people will be drawn and attracted to you. These are the different things, skills and arts you can learn to make people, to magnetize, to create that attraction within yourself, and then they stay with you forever. It's like riding a bike. You just hop back on and ride again. You may not be able to do all the fancy tricks that you used to do if you stop for a long time, but you'll still be able to ride that bike and be pretty good at it. So anyway, we have, I'm just going to run down a few of them and not go through all 64. Like I said, this is a more comprehensive list of the arts, but not all the arts, because obviously this guy's got fucking sword fighting and shit, and I'm not sure if it's in the Kala arts, sword fighting. And sword fighting ain't going to do much of any good to be a skill set to know these days. It's not one you can really show off. There's no real places to show your skills off, so you just have them intrinsically, and no one will hardly ever know unless you have ways of getting it out there. Where these other arts are arts that'll be more for your time and place, because some of these are more timeless, and so we'll go and touch on the real timeless ones, like singing, dancing. Those are forever. If you're good at singing and dancing within the culture and this time and place you are. All right, what do they say? These are Indian arts, traditional arts for the India. But the Vedic sciences number is up on their list, which is the study of the arts, I think. So to know what all the arts are and to study them and know them is attractive. So the idea is, if you know all of the arts and you know things about them, then you can teach them to other people, and then all of a sudden you're drawing people in, because now you're teaching, and teaching is attractive. People like to learn and like to know more, and if you have the knowledge of these things, these arts, they're more timeless. So then they translate across culture and across time and place. They call the 6 auxiliary sciences phonetics, grammar, etymology, metrics, astronomy, and ritualistic procedures. I don't know what some of those words mean. Just being able to talk well, and good grammar seem to be just the being able to articulate your words is phonetics. Grammar is using their correct words and speaking properly. Etymology is the study of words, is knowing all the words. So apparently a lot to do with knowing the language of your time and place. Astronomy and ritualistic procedures. I'm really interested in understanding why astronomy is important. It's certainly not important to the way the newspapers and the magazines bring you in with their fucking garbage ass. Some fucking dirty cunt writes something fucking stupid, and then you go read it and be like, oh my god, it's talking about me! Which, to be searching for signs and signals in the stars, or people interpreting the stars, it can be, if it's specific to you and you can find signs in different places. But to ritualistically go to that, those charlatans, is a problem. Is a fucking problem. Goes to what? Understanding philosophy, understanding logic, understanding sciences and arts, rituals, painting, and architecture, understanding the technology and being better at that. Should say, if you dive too deep into any one of these, the reason to know and learn them all is because when you dive too deep into one or another, you become tied to those groups. Not necessarily that that's a bad thing, but you don't necessarily know how to translate and speak and communicate within the other arts and the other disciplines in life if you're not a well-rounded individual. So it's good to be studying and learning to learn all these things. We have the education system that does that, and it is a decent enough job at it when you get to college and they give you more options. Like, our system is set up to do this in a way. It's just it's set up too stringent to the system, where if you don't follow along the line, we have no path to really deviate out of the way the system has it set up. And then you're deemed a failure if you don't succeed at being well-rounded within it. And then the best aren't the best well-rounded. They're just the ones that know how to get good grades. So they know how to cheat the system, and they're not afraid to lie and cheat on tests and have their parents do work for them and do. It's just a game to these people. So the people that are getting A's, they're not the best and brightest of our society. They're just they know how to they know what the system, they understand the system, and they excel at the system, whether they're doing it honestly or not. And then a lot of times they fail at other aspects of life because they're too tied into their system. Their life decisions revolve around how do they fit into the system. Whatever I got to do to make sure I still continue to fit into this system. I am this person because the system created me as this person, and now if I deviate from that, I'm no longer this person, or I could destroy everything that I've built. Classical dance, theater, martial arts, there you go. It's in there. Yoga's always in there. Yoga is a very attractive. The body movements, getting the stretching out of it as well. Understanding it, being able to teach it, being able to do it is good for yourself, and it draws people in around you. Which leads into breathing exercises. That is the most base way to tap into changing your energy, altering your energy. It's the bottom most base level need, where if you don't have it, if you're not breathing, you're gonna die. Also, if your energy's up real high and you feel like your chest is about to explode, you can fix that with a few deep breaths, and then bring yourself back to the moment in a more calm state. And then there's other things that the breathing does to the body, and I don't fully understand it. Which leads into mindfulness, meditation. The meditating is really just sitting with your thoughts and thinking, not necessarily being empty of thought, but meditating on a specific thought and drawing your mind back to what you're trying to fix, I think, is a better representation of what meditation should be thought of, because you can't turn your brain off. It's always going to be on. So to say your thoughts are empty and just make self appear is just not real. Buddha said he could do it, but I'm pretty sure that guy was just a lazy fat fuck that didn't have to do anything, and then just went into a Confucius, I think, too. I think they both had this delusion, this imaginary place in their head that they went to, and they just lived in their own little fairy tale land in their head of what the I don't know. They just daydreamed, I think, and had a place in their head that they thought was better than reality. Then it gets into mantras, yantras, which are sacred diagrams and sacred chants. And the mantra shouldn't be seen as a sacred chant. A mantra should be seen as something you created specific to yourself to remind you of who you need to be in a certain moment. Meaning, like the serenity prayer, understanding what that means. You don't necessarily have to be able to recite the serenity prayer. You can recite what's something that pulls you into a serenity place. You understand? It's like, if that prayer does it for you, that's great. To know all the chants and all the sacred mantras, I guess, is valuable, because then you can, once you understand something, you can speak it in your own words, and then it becomes a part of you. It's no longer somebody else's. It's part of you now too. So architecture, medicine, astronomy, fragrance, cooking and food preparation, weaving and dyeing, making clothes, working with metal, working with wood, working with ceramics, plants, flowers, esoteric chants. It's got secret mantras on there. Squirting and splashing water. That's just funny. It also has, I think, like waking master up isn't on here. There's a lot that aren't on whatever AI. AI falls way lacking in providing what we need in these. So I'm gonna go pull another list and just share that with the video, I think, and then that ought to be good. Like I said, these things you can learn on your own. The purpose of me writing this is to make sure you guys can see, trying to simplify so that everyone can see more. If you want more in this world, here's more. This is more. Become more, and then they'll magnetize that into your life. That's how it works. That's how it works. So once you decide what you want in life, become what you need to be to bring that into your life is what we're trying to set up, and I'm trying to share. Try and get a comprehensive, simplified list of what you can be, and then you can go find a mentor that's mastered that craft, and they'll be more than happy to impart their knowledge down. It's when somebody reaches mastery in their craft, they become isolated in that mastery and able to really talk to anybody. It's a prison of solitude unless you have a community of people that also have mastered the craft. And either way you look at it, those types of people are always looking to share that knowledge, are just tend to be more than happy if they got time and they can make time, or you can find a way to fit into their life to gain the skills that they have too. They tend to help. They tend to be more than helpful. All right, doggos. All right, go on. Oh, we're moving though. I'm sorry. I know you got comfy, huh? Do you want me to carry you? I have a lot of things to carry though. Mind if I get up? Mm-hmm. Yes, I liked having you here. I did. I liked it. Yes. Mm-hmm. Hey, buddy, you ready to go? It's time to get out of here. Don't go too far. Wait. I hope that worked.